Leslie Tarantula Girl here at the Spring Texas Reptile Expo in McQueeney, Texas. This is my favorite Venomous show. The organizer is amazing, so if you ever come for her, you have to look for Bonnie Reisman. So I'm here with the epic Mr. Wayne Howell. Gosh, I mean, I consider you to be like one of my mentors. Tell me a little bit about kind of how you got started, and things are super different now than they were, I don't want to say in the early days. Let's say that. I want to hear a little bit about, the reptile industry back then, some of your field herping. Just give us a little taste.
Well, I've been, as far as getting into reptiles, my sister actually got me into the reptiles. I'm slowly writing a book right now, but I'm just really lazy with it, so I'm not much of a writer, but I've been into reptiles since I was about 7 years old. The hognose snakes would get a gas meter, and we just moved into a new neighborhood. Snakes were everywhere, and my sister would just let's go look for hognose, and there'd be one right behind the gas meter. And about three footers back in the day.
That's a cool sister.
Yeah. And
what's her name?
Brenda.
Brenda.
She lives in Allen, Texas.
Wow.
She still likes snakes, but she doesn't keep them like I do. But she has gone to Big Bend with me, and I've taken her her kids. Niece and nephew have gone, and it's very interesting. She seems to like it. She loves rocks and that kind of thing, and plenty of rocks out towards Big Bend.
Oh, yeah.
But she got me started, and that's how I just took it from there. So I've been doing snakes all my life.
So you grew up in Texas, did you not?
I did. I actually moved. I was born in Chicago. I lived there the first year of my life. I don't remember it, thank God. But then I moved to Lubbock, Texas. Lived there for 3.5 years, and I've lived in Texas all my life except the first year of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love it.
So what's your favorite thing about Texas wildlife?
The abundancy. I like Arizona a lot too. I kind of back and forth between Arizona and Texas. Arizona is quite different.
Yes.
It's fun hunting. Mainly, the best time to hunt herp Texas is the early spring. If you're going to do it in the daytime, but most of it's done at night. So I'm a gray banded king snake freak, so that's what I enjoy going. I've been doing that for many, many years.
Wow.
So I like to go out at night and herping.
Do you like road cruising? What's your favorite thing to do? Do you like going out and hiking through the fields?
That is more of an Arizona thing for me. I like doing that, but I don't really do a lot of that in Texas. You flip 10 boards in the spring, that kind of thing. But I don't really road cruise that much in Texas unless I'm out west. But I don't really do much local herping anymore. But yeah, it's a very different than. I like to hike Arizona. That's where I like to do, but not much in Texas for herps anyway. So.
Tell us your 3 most death-defying stories of crazy things that have happened in the field.
I don't think we have that much time. I've got to pick.
Your best then.
Oh. Tragedies, you mean? Like bad things?
Anything dramatic and shocking.
Oh, I guess getting bitten in the field and having to wake my sister up that was with us on that trip.
Wow.
We were staying down towards Big Bend, which is a study butte we were staying at. Studi Butte, as they call it. And I had to wake her up in the middle of the night, and we had to drive to the hospital in Alpine. We got bitten by a Melosa. At the time, they call it something else now. But yeah, it was. I got bitten in the middle of the night and got to the hospital, and I was in the anaphylactic shock. I almost couldn't breathe at all. But anyway, I was still. I walked myself into the emergency room, and there was a herper that got bitten 2 weeks before that, and they didn't have an antivenin for him. And he, it was a copperhead that got him, and blacktail got me. So, but it was only 8 hours in the hospital. But my sister, she hadn't gone herping with me again. I wonder why.
Man, come on.
Anyway, that was probably the worst. I mean, there's a lot, but like I said, we don't have time to go over that many things. But yeah, I've been bitten 3 times, all in the field. But it's just one of those things where you got to be careful.
Yeah, definitely. So what were the circumstances? Was it something you were trying to catch? Was it something you had bagged? Was it something that caught you off guard?
Yeah, it was, as we know, the blacktail likes to climb up a lot, and had a bucket and a pillowcase, and stuck it down with the tongs, and it was a little bit dark on the side of the car. I wasn't in front of the vehicle, and thing was waiting for me basically, and just tagged me with one fang on the finger, and that's when I learned really they like to climb, so you got to be real careful. Just a really, really nice patterned snake, and I wanted it and didn't get it. I let it go.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's, you know, like people skydive, the chutes don't open, and yet they're still alive, and they do it again.
Yep.
Like it's just what, it's my thing, it's what I do. I still do venomous.
And there's danger everywhere in the world. Someone can die suddenly of heart failure or a car accident. I mean, you never know. And I think that if someone is living their best life, and as long as you're not endangering others and you're using reasonable precaution, you know, obviously you don't go out and try and get bitten, and anybody could be bitten at any time. People get bitten in their yards and stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
Who would you say is one of your mentors or idols in the field?
Wow. Thinking about that one. Well, I don't know. I don't really know. A mentor in the field. I don't know if I really have a mentor in the field. It's just that all the amazing people I've met in the field.
Okay,
so
tell us about a few of them.
Oh my gosh, I got to talk about John Hollister.
Okay.
We all know John Hollister, and you guys need to interview him.
Okay.
Seriously.
John, I want to interview you, so get prepared.
Well, I was hunting with a friend of mine. We were spotlighting out the window outside of West Texas. Back then, everything was illegal, just about to collect. Stuff went off the list in that year. 87. I was spotlighting out the window, and a car comes sliding right between the vehicle and the rock cut. Scared the crap out of me.
Oh my gosh.
And I dropped the spotlight, and he had a side-mounted spotlight on the car. I think, oh God, we're busted. Okay, you know. And this guy gets out of the car, has a cup of coffee in his hand, smoking a cigarette, shuts the door. He goes, "How you doing, John Hollister?" Like, I'm going, oh, I go, what are you? I said, "Are you a game warden?" "No, I'm not. You're looking for gray bands?" I'm going, don't ever do that to me again. That was when I first met John Hollister, and that was, oh my gosh, that was back in the early 80s sometime. And but as far, I think he's probably the biggest mentor of all the herpers that I can think of.
Awesome.
You know, and the late Steve Boyd was a great friend of mine, passed away last year, and he, I wish we could have interviewed him, because he has a lot of good stories too. He used to sleep under the bridge when he was 15 years old and looking for gray bands, because we all kind of did that back in the day when we can't afford motels and stuff. But Steve Boyd would be a mentor as well, you know, and just so many great people in the hobby that are not, and are no longer with us, but a lot of them still are, and I'd like to see you interview a lot of the older herpers.
Yeah,
you know.
I actually have a series in which I'm trying to document some of the stories from the guys that I consider our founding fathers, which are the people that were in the hobby, you know, when it was just developing. And so, yeah, any of those fine gentlemen, and if there are any ladies who are willing to be interviewed, I would love nothing more. I want it documented. Because I find it fascinating. It's an important part of our history. I know there have been some books written, not enough. I just think that a lot of the people that are in the industry now have come in since the internet, since reptiles have been very commercialized. I want them to become more commercialized. I like the direction that we're going in. I also like that some people are getting more interested in the conservation aspect. But those people, a lot of those people have only ordered a snake off the internet. You know, they've never seen snakes in the wild. They're not interested in just the natural history of the animals and how our industry developed. And I'm very interested in that because, number one, if it weren't for those founding father herpetoculturists or herpetologists, we wouldn't have any of the industry that we do now. So I think it's very important.
And you know, and speaking of John Hollister, Buzz Ross also, who's no longer with us, he was epic. And I met him the first time I went out to West Texas. I saw 2 rattlesnakes in the window at this old, beaten-up looking taxidermy shop.
Yeah.
And I said, "Wow, those are ridge-nosed rattlesnakes." Oh man! I knocked on the door, and the bell goes off, and hello, and it looked really scary in there. And I said, "Anybody here?" "I'm back here." Like, oh yeah, so, okay, somebody's here. Anyway, I wanted to talk to him about his rattlesnakes, and here comes Buzz. Flip-flops,
Yep.
T-shirt, camo pants, and I don't think he ever changed those clothes. Buzz was Buzz, and we missed that guy a lot. And I met him back in the early 80s. I've known he and Kathy for a long, long time. He was a big-time mentor.
Oh, yeah.
And these are, you know, I speak basically for the Alterna folks, because that's what I've always liked to hunt. And there's so many people, back in the 90s, early 90s, we'd all get together at the Desert Hills, but everybody calls it the Desert Swills because it was so nasty. It was cheap place to stay. But, I mean, it was terrible. But they had a nice little swimming pool in the center court, and everybody would barbecue, and people from California. It was like a big party.
Yeah.
It was actually the late 80s and all through the 90s.
Wow.
You know, people from Kansas would come down, you know, even out of state, out of the country. And it was just a lot of fun. And, you know, my wife's been doing this with me for a long time as well, and she enjoys going. She loves West Texas.
Awesome.
And we love it so much that I actually bought retirement property out in Alpine. So hopefully I can get out of Houston sooner than later so we can live the dream, because I always go there for vacation. So if I could live out there, I'd be on vacation all the time.
Awesome.
Hopefully I can retire one day and we can go out there. But
What would you say has been the most important thing that you've learned about keeping reptiles through the years?
well, to be successful with it, you've got to always keep the animals clean. They're captive animals, so you got to do the best to keep them clean, keep them healthy. I enjoy, the best thing about it I like is teaching kids about reptiles, because if you get kids started at an early age and make them understand that they're not out to get you, versus their family or somebody else teaching them that they're bad.
Right.
They kind of, like today, there's a lot of kids in here probably handled a herp for the first time.
Right.
That will change the kid's life. But I do a lot of education programs too at daycare centers and stuff like that. And it's important to get them on the right track, because, you know, most people kill snakes. A lot of they don't like them.
Yeah, I agree.
But I enjoy doing that.
I feel like people that have the knowledge have some level of responsibility to educate at least those people immediately around you, in your neighborhood, your kids' friends, or whoever it is. Thank you so much for doing that. It's an important public service.
Yes, and the best thing, what I think is the coolest thing ever, is have a teenager or whoever it might be come up to me. I have no idea who they are, but man, I remember I saw you when I was 4 or 5 years old at the daycare center, and you got me started into snakes. Actually, there's several people that are into herps now, and they give me credit for it because I got them started with it. And that is the neatest thing. So that's the biggest reward, I think.
You're starting a whole legacy of, you know, a new generation of keepers.
Yes, I took in one particular story, it was Jonathan Milliken. I took him out snake hunting when he was 11 years old. He even met John Hollister.
Oh.
And we caught one gray banded king snake.
Oh, wow.
And he was so into herps at that point. He ended up, he has a double degree, an entomology degree, wildlife science and fisheries degree from Texas A&M. He's a chopper pilot. He was in the Corps. And he's a super great kid. He's now 35 years old, something like that now. But he gave me credit for getting him started. I mean, I almost cried, you know. It's like so cool. And this guy, he's also a commercial pilot now, and he's a super great kid. Great family too. And
amazing.
That's when I took him out on that trip, and that's what got him. He just loved it.
Wow.
And we used to go in his backyard in Splendor. His backyard being really all of Splendor, because out in the country, found milk snakes 3 in one day, and he used to collect milk snakes over there, Louisiana milks and stuff. So great kid, and I still talk to him today.
Amazing.
But yeah, this boy has been hunting since he was 6 months old.
That's a life.
On the river road.
First snake I ever caught was a bull snake when I was 4, and my dad here picked me up to pick up the bull snake on the rock cut, and he touched it to make sure it was okay to pick up and not like strike at anything, because I know how bull snakes are. So he picked me up, grabbed my hands, and there it went. And I had that snake for 6 years. He passed away when I was 10. And
you were 4 years old when you caught the first snake.
Yeah, and it passed when I was 10, and we buried him in our flower bed in our front yard by the plumerias. And it was.
So now you're a successful snake breeder.
Yes. I produced, my first year breeding was in 2017. I'll tell the short version of this story. So the pairing was a pastel het pied to a normal het for pied. Long story short, I got 1 pied out of 3 eggs.
If there's anybody that has questions for you about maybe setting up an educational program or something, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I think Facebook is usually the best way.
Okay.
I have a website, but I'm not using it right now. I just don't like paying to use the website. I don't really use it. So I use Facebook more than anything.
Right.
So Facebook page.
Okay, awesome. So we'll link that below. So I want to thank Wayne and his handsome stud of a son,
Get in there,
Caleb.
Caleb.